Yes, yes, indeed. Here we are once again on Wednesdays, Health and Wellness Wednesdays. My name is Chase Steele Gray. I'm your host for today. And it's always a pleasure to be here with you because all of us come in as ourselves and we leave with more information as ourselves, which I really, really love. Thank you so much for taking the time for this conversation, enlightening, information gathering, however you want to look at it. Um, Today, I have a great guest, and once he starts talking, you'll understand why I brought him here. He is going to let us know what is the most important job you can ever do. But before he comes on, I'm just going to let you know a little bit about him. McKinley Winston Jr. is a polyglot who speaks French, Spanish, German, Italian, and Portuguese. He's a writer of plays, screenplays, and prose. He has written and produced one-man shows in New York City. He is a professional live storyteller, which I love, who has performed around the U.S. Please welcome to the Daily Huddle, Mr. McKinley Winston. Double last name, first, last, first. How are you today, sir?
I am doing good like a young man should.
I like that. I like that. You have all the one-liners, man. I'm just going to take them all in and use them at will. So I want to give everybody a little bit of foundation and give you your flowers because I met Mr. McKinley in a bookstore, and I'm not making this up. I'm going to tell you exactly what was going on. As I was on a top level of the store or a higher level, I looked across the room and I saw McKinley. And I like to concentrate on energies and auras when I'm around people and when I see people. And McKinley had some sort of glow, some sort of yellow, orange, something happening around him. The color was somewhere in between there. And I thought, who is that? And I looked over, and it was interesting because we spoke later about who the people he might look like. One being Arsenio Hall, and another one being for me. It was a familiarity basically, but the aura is the main point here. And I said, well, I got to say hello to this person somehow, some way. And this is how it happens a lot with me in my life. Very rarely does something pull me so quickly over. And that's what happened with Mr. Winston. So I just wanted to put that down before we get into our conversation. And our conversation then was like a race car. It was just like so much information came out at one time from both sides. And I said, this guy has to be on the huddle. I have to show these people who this is. And hopefully he can enlighten you and inspire you to live a higher life. Who knows? How are you today?
I am great. Just grateful to be alive. I'm in Florida. It's 70 something degree weather. I just walked the dog in beautiful sunshine. Everything's green. So, barring the politics, the atmosphere is beautiful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you are one of the rare people that when I was speaking to about the huddle, I had some topics that I wanted to speak about with you based on your energy and your direction. And then I said, well, I would like you to pick a topic that's passionate for you in this realm of health and wellness. And you said, what is the most important job you can ever do? Please unpack that for us.
So, I am a performer, actor, and for me, art always came first over me, over anything. I would quit my job, eat 50-cent cookies, just to get through to the next thing. And so in the early 90s, I heard about a thing called Debtors Anonymous because I didn't have any money, and I ended up, like, I think I had credit card debt of like $11,000, and things were just interesting. And so in DA, I heard this thing: your first job is to take care of yourself. And what does that mean? You're supposed to take a vacation. You're supposed to eat well. You're supposed to have your rent paid. You have to take care of your relationships that support you.
Right.
So the most important job is to take care of yourself came out of that revelation that self-care is the key to everything. You know, parents traveling with small children, put on your oxygen mask first and then attend to those traveling with you. And I think particularly for creative people, there's this belief that, you know, I've got to do my art no matter what. And you might be getting ready to be homeless. You might be not eating, you know, all the things that I did earlier in my career because I believe that performing, being an artist, a dancer, singer, this mattered more than my personal well-being. And so to this day, you know, I am all about taking care of myself, getting up in the morning, drinking 3 glasses of water, you know, going for a walk. I'm going to be going to the gym later. These are things that I do constantly because I know that if I'm going to take care of the people traveling with me, that's all of you and all of the community and the arts and just the world in general. I have to have my own energy. I have to have my own health. And that comes from self-care.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And would you say that some of your actual self-care rituals or specific things that you do all the time came from the influence of your childhood and your parents? How did you get razor sharp close to this? Did you just know, like, if I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to have to take care of myself?
So I would have to say that I came from a family that was struggling, and my father was a big sports advocate, but I don't think anybody had a concept of really eating well, exercising, all the fine points that it takes to get you through this life with all your teeth. Okay. Uh,
I
so,
like that. We see you really well when you came close like that, by the way. You're in a glare. It looked much better
oh,
up close like
oh,
that. That's
okay. So I'll do that.
great.
So, I think that my parents were loving, but they didn't really have a concept of self-care. And later, I think there was a better idea of that. But I would say in my formative years, self-care wasn't a big thing. It was mostly about making money.
Mhm. You have, do you come from a large family?
Well, now there were
Like brothers and sisters and stuff.
I have 3 siblings,
Right.
and when my father was told with 4 children that he should be living on a farm, but that's where he came from, so he wasn't going back.
Right,
So
right, right.
we lived in you know, various places, Jersey City, Connecticut, and the whole thing was to try to uplift the race, you know, be in a better place than where you started. So in that regard, my parents were definitely strivers, but I don't think they had a concept of that your food is your medicine. That didn't ever ring the bell.
Right. Would you consider yourself to be um, uh, an omnivore, or are you specifically vegetarian? Do you have a way that you're living in a specific way, or is it not? You're in a place of healthiness, meaning self care around the board.
Okay, so the classical lesson is moderation in all things.
Hmm.
So I'd like to travel. Very often, probably this summer, I'll go and I'll spend a month in Portugal.
Okay.
Uh, when I first went to Portugal, I was a vegan,
Mm.
and they just didn't do that well. So when I went back the second time, they now had to have vegetarian options on all menus. And they had the nerve to serve me IKEA, you know, vegetarian meatballs.
Oh, I know about those.
Say I'm in a restaurant paying for a meal and they give me IKEA meatballs.
Ah,
So what my husband and I decided to do was to be flexitarians, and so we
yeah.
eat fish, and and um, and then stay vegan or vegetarian at that point.
Right.
Because you know I I do travel a lot. I was on a podcast with you with a gentleman that was in Spain. I spent 5 weeks in Japan a summer ago, and then last summer I spent 5 weeks in Sicily.
Mm,
And you have availability of certain products, and you don't others. So I think that
correct.
I choose the healthiest options of where I am, but
Right.
primarily it would be fish and vegetables.
That's good. You know, your 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 stature and your physicality suggests that you are very um, dedicated to physical activity daily, right? It's just certain ways that people stand and walk and are sedimented in one place where, and I'm giving you all the best flowers that I can. I noticed that about you. And I wondered, are you involved in physical activity that's minimal? Like you walk, you run, you bike? Are you into cardio? How is it? How do you do the whole circuitry? I guess, people say circuit training. Do you do that kind of thing?
So I do. I'm 70 years old,
What?
and yeah, so I'm 70 years old, and I danced. I studied at ALE, ballet, different schools in New York. And so from that sense, I had a sense of body, stature, posture. And
Mm,
so I always worked out at a gym, so I do circuit training. I will spend 2 hours on the treadmill because I want to control my weight. And sometimes I am a bad boy and I eat things that are high calorie, and you have to get on that treadmill.
yeah,
So yes, so I'm at the gym probably 5 days a week.
nice. When you say I'm a bad boy, eat things I shouldn't, tell me what that means.
Well, my folks come from the South, and they have a habit of making these three-layer lemon coconut cakes, and
Wow.
and my grandmother made this cake called a five flavor cake, which was with pineapple, vanilla, almond extract, rum, orange, and so my sister continues to make it. So I I have a hard time saying no to cakes.
Wow. Wow. That's
And a new friend that I just met, before I had my birthday party turning 70, she baked me a rum cake with some pralines from New Orleans on the side.
wow. Well, I know about rum cake being Jamaican in my family, but we'll talk about that another time. Um, we definitely will talk about that another time. Well, congratulations. Wow. 70. If I had to guess your age, I would not have gotten close to 70. I mean, this is interesting, and I'm glad you said that because we all have our perceptions of age. When you're
Right.
younger, you say, you're 20 and somebody's like 60. Go 60. Wow. You're like, you know, and there was a joke, Jamie Foxx was at a club and he didn't know his daughter was there. And she came over and she goes, "Hey, Dad, what's up?" And he was like, "What's up? These are my friends." And they were like, "Oh my God, Jamie, bye," whatever. And when his daughter went away, for some reason, they talked about age. And it was like, "Oh, what nice to see you girls. How old are you girls?" And she was like, "I'm 22." And the other girls was like, "I'm 24." And he was like, "Oh, that's nice." And she goes, "How old are you?" And he said, I forget what he said at the time, like I'm 52 or 51 or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, wow." He said they looked at him like it was a disease. Oh, he got the 51, like that. And it was really funny because whenever we talk about age, it's only what can we do? It's only our perception. We're only looking straight ahead. It's just you have that in you. It's just what can you do? When you look at you say you're an old person. I sing at senior citizens homes with people who are between 80 and 103, and I saw 102 year I call her 102-year young lady, and she had her facilities and she was moving her arms around, and I was amazed. I was like, this is incredible. So as I see you, and again, I always look to people like you and say, well, what are you doing? You're drinking lots of water. You said you drink three glasses a day. You go walk the dog. That's a undercover secret exercise. Like some people forget that. If you walk your dog, you just walk 2 miles or a mile and a half or whatever it is, depending on your
Mhm.
community. And what do you intake? What I want to ask you about is a lot of people are talking about digital consumption, right? The phone, the iPad,
Right.
the home computer. How do you incorporate that into your life? And are you aware of its mystique and power that pulls us away from things sometimes? How do you feel about that?
I'm aware that being drawn in, particularly to social media, Instagram in particular, might be my drug of choice.
Right.
That, there are a lot of people that I know, they're wonderful singers, and I want to see what they're doing. And you can look around and you've been an hour on the phone and it's getting late, and they tell you should tone the lights down before you get ready to go to bed. So I have really toned down looking at social media prior to going to bed. But I used to, as a ritual, as I was getting ready for bed, I would check and see who was singing on Instagram, anybody I knew,
Right.
that kind of thing. And I really have stopped that because um, I think it is a good idea to allow yourself to wind down and not get engaged with social media, particularly as you're trying to sleep.
Right. And if you were to give some across the board advice, you being 70 years young, how can you give me a few takeaways for people at any age? Because I believe that good health doesn't start today. You had to do some stuff up till now to get where you are. Like it's not like, okay, today you eat an apple, an avocado, some glasses of water, and a fig, and you're good. No, we talk,
Mhm.
come on, habits. What have been some of your consistent flow habits that have gotten you to the physique and the mindset that you have?
Well, I will tell you that exercise I ran cross country when I was in college.
Right, cross
Um,
country.
I ran cross country. I danced in college, and then I danced when I came to New York. And so I've always had a physical routine that kept me live. So I was very limber. It would kill people at my job. I used to work at a front desk at a hotel. I would bend down and I could pick up a pencil off the floor without bending my knees. And they said,
Ah,
"Oh my God." And I
yeah.
said,
Dancer
it's
world, dancers, dancers.
it's keep that stretch. So
That's great. That's really, really great. And oh, you were saying something, and I lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you about something, but anyway, the exercise and Ailey. I mean, just that word alone, Ailey. This level of excellence that comes from that is very powerful. Before I ask people if they have any questions, I just want to know what are you working on right now artistically in keeping with this self-care wellness vibe.
Well, many of my projects are they're diverse. I'm writing short stories, and I'm working on a series, a screenplay for a first episode, and creating the book for the series. So those things are my creative effort. But
Right.
before that, I have taken care of my body. So I don't sit down and write all day and haven't done anything physical. So I will do my physical thing and then go and then come back and write. Or occasionally I will flip it and I will get up like at 5 in the morning and write for 3 hours and then go to the
Mm.
gym. But there's always going to be a physical component to the day because being sedentary, I find that I'm not as resourceful and as fast thinking as when I'm active. So I
Right.
always include some exercise in my day.
And also, I have to ask because I love the word polyglot. I love that word. And I love the fact that you are fluent in four different languages. Do you feel that the language over time has enhanced your mind as it relates to learning other things? Just touch on that for a moment.
So languages do it's a wonderful mental exercise because
Really?
you are doing what you Black people do. You're code switching. You're code switching. So if you say something to me in English and I'm Spanish speaking, I'm gonna let it translate and then speak back to you. But what happens when you do something often, it becomes automatic language, and you're not aware of the translation process. It just flows. So,
Right.
so for me, language has been a way of eating better. You know, when you speak the language, you will eat good. And I'll tell you just a quick anecdote of a true story that happened to McKinley Winston. Some friends of mine who were ostensibly white, one was Italian, one was Dominican, took me to a restaurant somewhere in northern New Jersey. And they said, McKinley, you're going to love this Italian restaurant. You're going to love it. So I come in, I'm somewhat by myself. I don't know if they came in first or I came in later, but I was standing by myself. And the owner of the restaurant walked up to me, can I help you? And I
Mm,
said, io non ho ancora visto il menù, ma non so, ma c'è qualche cosa di buono. And he flipped. He said, you
right.
speak
Right.
Italian. And he said, I want you to try my rollatini. I want you to do this. But he was like ready to tell me I didn't belong there.
That's right. That's right.
So I have used language to eat better and
Mm.
also to put people in check.
You know, I was in Italy for 2 years, and that happened to me multiple times. I just let people talk, and then when they understood that I understood, they were like, you can't assume anyone doesn't know something. You just can't.
Right.
It's just a rule across the board rule. But yes, I've experienced exactly that. Wow. Does anyone have any questions for McKinley at all? Anything you want to chime in and talk about? We have a few minutes, and I would love to hear what you have to say. All right. Not a problem. Um, you know, I'm so glad that you're here, and we have other things that I would love to talk to you about in future um, episodes. Um, I want to ask you two or three solid questions as we make our way towards the outro. Number one, what's the first book that comes to your mind that has changed your world by reading it?
The first thing I'm going to tell you was Man Child in the Promised Land.
Man Child in the Promised Land.
Claude Brown. He talked about the heroin addiction in Harlem,
Uh-huh.
and I swore that I would never, ever be a heroin addict after reading that book.
Wow. Wow. That's deep. Who are you listening to right now musically? First name that comes into your head.
Lady Blackbird,
Lady Blackbird. Huh.
she's a British kind of soul singer,
Okay.
Tina Turner, somewhere between Tina Turner and Abby Lincoln.
Yes, I have heard this name before, and I'm not sure where. But when you said it, I was like, oh, yes. The other question is, what is the food? What is your favorite comfort food that can also be spoken about as a healthy food?
Well, uh, I grew up on okra.
Okra, yes.
Yeah, so okra and brown rice.
Woo.
You know, if I'm being bad, a little fried okra, you know. Uh, but okra, I used to when I would go visit my grandmother, she would always make me okra.
Amazing, amazing. Last question I have for you is, are you a person who believes in um, manifestation through writing goals? Are you a journal person? I know you're a writer, but is that part of your mental?
I just want to say amen. So the first time that I did this was with the artist way.
Oh,
I made a
ding,
list of
ding, we
I
have a
made a
winner.
list of 10 things, It all happened. I
Mm.
wanted a upright piano. I wanted this. I wanted an apartment. I got it all.
Yes,
And
sir.
so coming back from Sicily last summer, I wrote um, a, a vision list of things that I wanted to have in my life. And this is what I'm working on in 2025 is making that list happen. And I'm just going to put it out there because I know a lot of people don't like to talk about this. I grew up in a very Christian family. My father would tell me, don't gain the world and lose your soul. But I'm
Mm.
trying to get stupid money. Okay. I want to have that money that I don't worry about it when I spend it. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm not saying that I would just be totally impractical, but if
Oh,
I
you would
need
not be. Yeah.
something, I'm not going to worry about how much it costs.
Right. Right. I appreciate that, and I think that's a great sentence because certain people will whatever challenge that or say such and such. But I agree with you from the perspective of just making a choice. What do you want to do today,
Mhm.
McKinley? I'm going to go to the Seychelles. Let's book that and just go. That's the goal, right? The freedom of movement, the freedom of choice to help other, whatever the case may be. So I agree with you on that. And I think that's part of, I believe that that's part of our health and our wellness to get to the point where we can be free to stretch out and do
Mhm.
whatever. Oh, some people are like, up, not too far. Up, can't do that. Up, that's not up. I'm around people sometimes like that. And I'm like, wait, hold on a second. Or a person said to me once, instead of saying, well, I can't do that, it's too expensive, say, how can I do that? And I was like, wow, that's so subtle and easy. What do I need to do to get there? Let me write
Mhm.
that. And I thought, yes, that's what I'm about. And I've seen that in my own life. Um, so I really enjoyed this conversation. Way too quick. We need like an hour minimum. and but I appreciate you, and I just recognize your gifts and your communication skills are wonderful. You inspire me because I speak quite a bit of Italian, understand quite a bit of Spanish, understand quite a bit of French, but there's the on the field training, and I'm going to be
Mhm.
more into that, because the brain, lizard brain is everywhere, just trying to slow it down, you know. So I appreciate that.
So I'm gonna send you two links
Okay,
for French that you can do sort of as exercises. They're free, and so I kind of do them when I have time. They pop
excellent.
up like kind of once or twice a week, and if you have time, you do it. If you don't, you just catch the next one.
Got to make time for that. I just appreciate you so much. I see abundance when I look at you, which is a great thing. I don't see abundance in every person that I look at, and it's not my place to judge anyone either way. But what I see in specific things or what emits from you is an abundant life, a healthy life, and you are concentrating on that, right? As in the title, the most important job that we do. I believe that wholeheartedly, and we slip and we move back and forth as the natural rhythm of life. But when you see somebody from the outside, like I saw you in that bookstore, I was like, that's okay. Let me see what's going on over there. And I just appreciate that. So I want to once again give you your flowers because this is what we do.
Mhm.
Energy is swarming around us all day, especially in New York. Wow. And sometimes you see that person looks like they just hit the wall of their life, and another time you see somebody looks like they're floating down the street, and you're like, wow, why are they floating like that? Like I always think about that. And so I appreciate you. Any last words before we sign off?
There's a phrase that came to mind that I'd like to leave you with is that everything communicates. And
Mm,
so
right there.
body language, spoken language, choice of words, lack of choice of words, everything tells a story. And when we're present, we can perceive those things. So everything communicates.
I like that. Oh, I forgot to ask you, being the polyglot that you are, give us one word from any one of the languages that you are fluent in to take away for whatever reason. Just a word that you think we should know.
South Africa, Ubuntu. It comes from the Bantu, and I am because of you. I love it. Ubuntu.
I remember that. Who told me that? I saw that. I heard that somewhere before. I am because of you.
Yeah.
Great way to end today. Well, thank you so much, Mr. I almost said Mr. McKinley because I look at both of your names. I'm like,
Right.
Winston McKinley Winston. Like you said, we could do it in either direction, right? I like
Right.
that. But as we always end our daily huddle with our tenets, first is to love out loud, love more than you did yesterday. It will only do you good. Laugh, please laugh more than you did yesterday as well. Find something online and just laugh about, or just laugh in general, right? There's
Hmm.
actually a therapy that's laughter therapy, laughter yoga, right?
Hmm.
Also, just be in the flow of your sleep patterns, like sleep a little bit more, make sure you get extra rest. We all know when the mind is active, it's really tricky sometimes, but keep going at it, figuring out how you can get more rest. Eat mostly plant-based if you can. We're not prescribing any particular way of eating on this huddle. We just say give it a shot every now and then. Just let your body relax from all the digestion, more liquids, less digestion with these solid fake foods that people are eating all the time. You know how that is. Also, please challenge those assumptions in your life, right? We like to say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. We talked about it before. Move the body, move as much as you possibly can. Please move. And for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, we have a show every day. We have different topics every day, different hosts every day. This just happens to be health and wellness. We talk about business. We talk about relationships. We talk about all the things that I believe human beings need to know more about. And of course, we're family here, so you can come and join us anytime you want. And we're going to see you again soon. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Later, alligator.
After a while,
Thank you, McKinley. Thank you, Chase.